Good evening, and welcome to the 2021 SGA Night of Speeches. My name is Joe Contreras, and I'm your current SGA president. For the past 2 years, I have had the honor and privilege of serving you, the student body. Tonight, you'll get to an inside look at the candidates that are running to become the next SGA president and executive vice president. And yes, we are coming to you absolutely live via Zoom. Now, over to Executive VP Maddie Wenger for the flow of the night.
Hi, I'm Maddie Wenger, the Executive Vice President this year, and I'm so excited to welcome all of these candidates. I'm going to explain the flow of the night, but first I would like to introduce the 3 presidential tickets we have. So if everyone would like to turn their cameras on. Yes, we have Matthew Holgate and Phoenix McGee, Jonathan Scruggs and Millie Reynoso, and Sydney Luttrell and Lauren Baumgartner. I'm so excited for you guys and wish you all the best. And now I'm going to explain how the night is going to work. You may turn your cameras off. So this evening, each of the presidential candidates and the executive vice presidential candidates will have a turn to speak about why they feel they deserve this position and why they want to advocate for you, the student body. Each presidential candidate will have 5 minutes to speak, and each executive vice presidential candidate will have 3 minutes to speak. We will then transition to a time of question and answer where we have some set questions for them to answer, and then the student body gave some questions for them as well, and they will answer those. We're so excited for tonight, and we look forward to what our presidential candidates have to say and for you guys to learn more about them so that you are educated voters. We're going to start off with our first presidential candidate, Jonathan Scruggs. Jonathan, if you'd like to turn your camera on, and I would like to welcome you to your first presidential campaigning election speaking, and you may start your speech.
Thank you so much, Maddie. I appreciate it. How's it going, everyone? My name is Jonathan Scruggs. I'm a RA here in Huntington, and a little bit about me. The reason that you should vote for me, honestly, I would love to serve you. I've spent almost my entire life, especially when I was a little kid, I loved helping other people. I loved serving people. I loved doing things for other people. It's really where my heart came alive, and it's really where I found my passion. Some of my favorite moments in life have been on the mission field or like working with kids, things like that, things that I love, like just doing for other people. And that's a huge passion of mine. I really enjoy that. But when I was younger, I always thought of myself as a servant. I never saw myself as a leader. But someone once actually told me, they were like, leadership is really just serving other people. Leadership is really just laying your life and serving those around you and leading them the best that you can and doing everything you can so that they can succeed. And that's why I want to become president. I firmly believe that this school is an amazing place, but it could be better. There are things that could change. But you really need someone that's going to serve you, that's going to work really hard for you and the things that you want to do. And I believe that that is me. What would I do, honestly, if I was president? I feel like leadership, something I've learned. I mean, I've been a leader for a little while. I'm a children's pastor right now. I've been an RA for 2 years. I've had different management roles. But something one of my mentors actually taught me was leadership isn't always about giving people all of the bells and whistles and all the incredible things that are going to make them super, super successful. Leadership, the best way to go about it is actually to just remove the roadblocks so that people can actually succeed. Take the things out of their way that make them stressed, distracted, the things that are getting in the way and not helping them succeed. And that's what I would love to do as president. I may not be able to get you a hot tub on top of Huntington. I would love that. But there are things that I could do practically that would make this school a better place. Just a couple of those really quick that I would love to do. These are just kind of some of Millie and I's ideas. I would love to streamline financial aid. I would love to enhance the communication between financial aid and students. One of the big things, there was someone on my floor this year that left because they had an issue with financial aid. I've almost been kicked out of Vanguard about 3 times because of miscommunication with financial aid. So I would love to extend the grace period. And I'd also love to just enhance the communication between financial aid and students so that Vanguard isn't losing students every single semester just because of a miscommunication. Another thing I would just love to do, I work here in Res Life, and I've had so many people tell me that they need like an extra half day to be able to get home at the end of each semester. I've had people stay in my room. I know other RAs have had people stay in their room because they either booked a plane ticket for Saturday or they live in the Bay Area and they don't want to drive 6 hours after taking a final on Friday. That's another thing I would love to do. And these are just a couple of my ideas, but honestly, if I became president, I wouldn't just want to push for the things that I want. Millie and I wouldn't want to just do the things that we feel are best for the school. In reality, our hope and our belief is that every single person at Vanguard has an idea of how this school could be better. You could probably think right now of like 5 things that you would love to do, and this school would be so much healthier and better because of it. Come talk to me. I would love to hear your voice. I'd love to hear your opinion. Every single person at this school has an incredible voice and an incredible opinion. I would love to hear that. And I would like to take that to the administration. SGA in reality is the connection point between administration and the students. And I really want to bridge that gap, because sometimes administration does things and they think it's what the students want, but it's not really what the students want. There are so many things that happen and we're like, we never wanted that. I would love to take our voices, our opinions, I would love to take them to administration and make them happen. I would love to make them become a reality. University in reality is for the students. If there were no students, this university wouldn't exist. And that's why administration, SGA, no leader should really have that power. It should be in the power of the students. If I become president, I want to make sure every single person's voice is heard and that you feel like you have a voice and you have that power to actually make change here at Vanguard. So I'll just end with this. If you vote for me, I will work extremely hard for you. One of my best qualities is I can just stick my head down and work. I have a lot of leadership experience and I feel that I can do a great job for each and every one of you. And honestly, my biggest strength is listening. I can listen really well. And then I can take that and I can make it happen. I can put those plans into action. Thank you. I appreciate it. And vote for Millie and Jonathan.
Thank you, Jonathan. Millie, I will now, I'm gonna invite you to speak and you will have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining our live stream. This is so exciting to see all of you guys supporting all the candidates here tonight. I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Millie Reynoso. I'm a sophomore and I'm a biology major. I'm running with Jonathan Scruggs, and we are so excited to be running for this election. I think Jonathan and I both share a passionate heart for Vanguard, and we are very passionate about helping the students, the community, and everything that Vanguard has to offer. I feel like if we were elected to be president and vice president, we would really want to get to know our constituents, listen to what their wants, their needs, and their wishes are, and make a realistic plan to making those changes happen and putting our best efforts to whatever that may be. My leadership experience in the past has been, I've had a lot of leadership experience in the past is what I meant to say. And I was class president for my high school for 3 years. So I really learned how to be dependable, reliable, and relational with my peers. And I was also the vice president and president of our Oil Technology Academy. And that really trained me on my professionalism and working within my community. And I am also working in Res Life right now. I'm an RA for Laguna Hall. And it's just been such a great experience to get to know my girls and really fulfill their needs and their wants during this chaotic year. I'm still trying to make it the best it can be for them. I also got to be an SGA, and I was the Laguna Hall representative. So I got to work along Joe and along with other amazing SGA members. And it was just such a great role to be a part of, because I really got to see and play that role of listening to my constituents and really hearing their wants and needs, and going off my end and talking to administrative leaders and higher authorities to make those changes happen for them. I think Jonathan and I are so stoked about this opportunity to run, and I think we would definitely work our everything that we have for the students of Vanguard. And I just want to end that with whatever the outcome is of this election, that Vanguard is going to be in great hands next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Millie. That was our first presidential ticket, Jonathan and Millie. Thank you all, and I was very impressed by your speeches. We will next move on to our next presidential candidate, which is Matthew Holgate and Phoenix McGee. I'm now going to open the floor to Matthew for his 5 minutes for his speech. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Maddie. Well, it's great to be here this evening. I'm just so honored to be able to have the opportunity to run during this campaign. So I would like to extend my appreciation for the Executive Board and the Elections Committee. So getting right into this, I think that I'm really just running for this position because I feel like there's a lot of voices at Vanguard that's not being heard. There's a lot of concerns and different things that we as students can bring up to, faculty and staff about different things. And being in SGA for the past year as serving as the Vice President of Communication has given me even doorways to network with different people around campus and talk about the issues that are happening. So I think Vanguard is, we call Vanguard sometimes when I lived on campus, I'd call Vanguard my home. So like, I think of Vanguard like home, like, oh yeah, I'm going home. And so really, I'd really love to see, students thriving and students, wanting to actually come to school and wanting to, be a part of student life and wanting to be engaged in the different conversations that we have. So really for me, I'm running for this position because of the students. And I think with some prior leadership experiences that I've had, being an advocate for students is something that I'm really, really passionate about. I served as the Intercultural Student Programs Department lead last year for the whole year, and that job specifically was advocating for students. And being a part of SGA this year in the executive board, I'm continuing to advocate for students. So I love the fact that I'm able to just talk to students, reach out to students, and see what they want to do and the change that they want to initiate within SGA. And I think SGA to me is really, it's more than just, the elections and the executive board and the House of Representatives, but it's really leaving a legacy, not just for the current administration or the current House of Representatives, but really it's like a legacy for Vanguard students for the future, because we're making decisions that are going to impact or that are going to, continue to be the decisions that other students are going to have to go through in the future 5-10 years from now. So really it's a legacy process. And I think that's something that's so beautiful about Vanguard, having the opportunity for students like I to represent the student body at Vanguard. And there's so much more that I could go into, and I just want to leave you all with, I will continue to advocate for students like I've already been doing, and this just gives me a new platform to continue to bring not just my ideas, but also my running mate Phoenix McGee's ideas to the table. And if I win this election, I think one of the first things I want to address is bringing more voices to the table, and adding more representatives in the House so that we can hear more voices from more diverse areas of across campus. So thank you all for this opportunity, and I am just so excited to hear the rest of this night of speeches. So thank you.
Thank you, Matt. The floor is now open to your running mate, Phoenix McGee. Phoenix, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Maddie. Hello, everyone. My name is Phoenix McGee. I'm a junior, majoring in communication. And so both Matt and I came up with our slogan, building our story together. And the whole idea is that for me, when I first came into Vanguard, everything was about trying to be the best student, whether it's getting good grades, finding connections, making accomplishments, yada, yada, yada. But as you get older, you start to understand that really it's about the next generation, that there will always be other people who get this position and opportunities like this, and it will just come and go, right? But the most important thing you can do is to pay everything that you've learned forward to the next generation to come. And that's truly how you create something that lasts forever. And so the fundamental belief of building our story together is to create not just an impact now, but one that will last forever. Now, how do you do that? And that's how you create something that's greater than infinity and inspire one who inspires the next, who inspires the next, and the next, and so on and so on. And that's the foundation of it all. And I think the most important thing about positions like these is how you can translate it to something more. I would say that I am generally creative, but I do know that there are other people who are creative as well. I think the separation is the commitment to an idea and the commitment to stay with an idea and work on it. Like when I sat down and started coming up with ideas as an RA last year, you have to come in count of what type of event you want to do, if everyone's going to be available, the budget. But when something gets brought up, things start to fall apart. And then you got to go try and go back and rework and rethink things through. So it takes a lot of patience to make sure that pieces of the puzzle are all lined up correctly. And it just takes time. And I'm confident that with Matt and I, we'll start to line Vanguard's puzzle pieces together to build our story together. So thank you, everyone. And I'm looking forward to everyone else's speeches. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the conclusion to our second presidential ticket. And now we will move on to our third and final, Sydney and Lauren. Sydney is running as president, and Sydney, I want to invite you to, I guess you could say, the stage, the floor. And you may now start your speech. You have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Maddie. Hello, Vanguard. I am Sydney Luttrell. The first time I stepped on Vanguard's campus, I knew that this place was special. Walking on the campus and seeing the faculty and students instantly felt like home. Vanguard's community is unlike any out there. The community has been built on this campus because of the amazing staff and also because of you, the students. I want to help foster a community where all know that they are respected and valued. Getting involved in Vanguard's community was and still is a high priority to me. In the last few years, I have had a variety of leadership roles that have given me a well-rounded experience and the skills needed to lead our university. I'm from a small town, Kingsburg, in the heart of California, the Central Valley. I got to see the benefits and the beauty of growing up in a small town. Everyone that you walked by was not only your neighbor, they were your family, supporting you day in and day out. Vanguard has that same small town mentality. We are constantly around each other. So I want to make sure that everyone is seeing familiar faces, smiling at them and supporting them. Vanguard should make everyone feel safe and comfortable. Being a small private Christian university, we are bonded from the start by our love for our God. As brothers and sisters in Christ, we can gain so much knowledge from one another and grow as individuals. As SGA president, I am your advocate, advocating for all students, residents, commuters, transfers, and out-of-staters. My job is simple, to be there for my peers, to be there for each and every one of you. My job will be to spend time with you, learn where you are needing to see growth in the university, and advocate for the changes that you want on your campus. While you are at Vanguard, you deserve to know that this is your school. I have a heart not only for this campus, but for all of the students. Attending Vanguard and receiving an education is what we are here for, but I do not want your time at Vanguard to only be about your education. Vanguard is your home, and I want to make sure that you know and feel that it is your home. As president, I will support you and help you and make sure that while you are here at Vanguard, you have all of the resources you need to succeed. We are here for you. I know that we have had a challenging year, and I have worked really hard in my role as a board of director member, dealing with the first year experience with freshmen and transfer students, and being part of the Scholars Program Events Committee. We would spend our time getting to know one another over Zoom, creating opportunities for students to not only meet with us, but meet with their peers. We would spend our time talking about the events that we look forward to in the future when we can all be on campus again, being vulnerable with one another in our struggles with the online setting, because it's not always sunshine and butterflies. Some days we would just play games with one another and build camaraderie that bonded us within seconds. We are intentional with our time, putting the work and effort into everything that we are doing in order to make most of the circumstances and still connect with one another and build community. The calls brought many faces together, some calls bringing in more than others, but I was willing to put in the work and dedication for each call, knowing that if it can at least bring me one person that is craving community and a friend, I can provide that for them. Building community and making sure that all students know that Vanguard is where they belong was and still is our priority. We were able to engage with students one-on-one and help them connect with others that allowed them to find community and family in one another. In a world where Zoom is now our best friend at times, it has allowed us to stay connected to one another and create new friendships, even if it's only for 40 minutes because we all can't afford those Zoom Pro accounts, sadly. I want to advocate for you and your needs. Your needs are my needs. I will live and breathe being your president and will not rest until I'm able to provide the support or resources that you need. I will take your needs and I will dedicate my time, energy, and love to serving you. I will always be here for you to support you throughout your journey, not only at Vanguard, but in life. Thank you.
Thank you, Sydney. The floor is now open to your running mate, Lauren Baumgartner. Lauren, there you go. There she is.
Hi.
You now have 3 minutes for your speech.
Awesome. Thank you. First off, I just want to say thank you for everyone for tuning in and watching all of these speeches and hanging in there. And thank you for everyone who put on this event for us. And I'm just going to skip the traditional introduction and go right into the deep stuff and say that I absolutely love my mom's apple pie. I know you were thinking I was going to say Vanguard, which I do love Vanguard very much, and that's why I'm here today. But you guys don't understand how wonderfully flaky and delicious my mom's apple pie is, and it's constantly bought over in my house. But anyways, let's get back to Vanguard. So I'm just going to go right in with my leadership positions. I didn't go through typical high school positions because I took orchestra. I know I'm a music nerd, but I did have the opportunity to start an FCA chapter at my high school my sophomore year. That's Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And then I was also 4 years captain of my high school basketball team. And I am also the captain here for my sophomore year too. So since I didn't have the traditional experience of being an ASB in high school, I really wanted to get connected here at Vanguard. And I wanted to get into a position where I can continue to work on my leadership skills and really work on my listening and problem solving, seeing as I want to go into working with veterans as a physical therapist. And so in order to do this, I got involved with Activate, the freshman leadership group, and I loved it so much that I decided to apply to be one of the board of directors this year. And I got it, and that's how I met Sydney, and we are actually teammates, so we've been working together this whole year, so we definitely have that camaraderie together. But these 2 years of leadership here at Vanguard has really opened my eyes to room for growth and improvement. And something that the Lord has really put on my heart is to be a voice for out-of-state students, seeing as I'm from Idaho myself. And another thing is after this year, I understand that we have all felt isolated at times, being on Zoom and everything like that. But I want to make sure that we're continually growing our community here so that each individual has a place where they can call their home and that they feel comfortable sharing their ideas and opinions. So that's why I think that you should vote for me and Sydney. We work together, we work hard. Me growing up on a farm and playing sports my whole life has really instilled a high work ethic in my life. And I know that we are going to give 110% to make sure that each of your voices are heard and that you feel comfortable here and that your time here, whether it's 4, 3, 2 years, or however long you have here at Vanguard, is memorable and fulfilling and a little bit productive. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lauren. And that concludes the speeches of all of our presidential and executive vice presidential candidates. I wish we could all be in person so we could give them a round of applause. but all of you guys can do that on YouTube if you're following along. We appreciate all of you that have been commenting and chatting and giving support to your candidates. So now we are going to transition into a time of question and answer. We have prepared a few questions for each candidate. So I'm going to ask all of the presidential candidates to please turn their cameras on, and these questions will be directed towards you. And then we will move on to the executive vice presidential candidates. I am going to ask more of like a popcorn style. So I'm going to ask a question, and if you would like to answer, just go ahead and answer. Just be courteous that Zoom tends to have a lot of interrupting. So if that does happen, I will clarify who can go first and who follows after. So our first question for you, our presidential candidates for the year of 2021 to 2022 is, as a president, how will you work to be a liaison between the university president, his administration, and the student body? If no one wants to answer, I will call on people, but if you want to go first, feel free.
I can go first.
Okay.
So I really feel that communication, especially at Vanguard, does happen, but I feel like a lot of communication just gets like lost, and I feel like between like the president and the rest of Vanguard, I feel like really the key is over communicating. I feel like you really have to take what the students are saying to the president and take what the president's saying back to the students and over communicate until it actually gets there. I think there's a lot of things that are actually happening at Vanguard that people want to be happening, and they're in the process of happening, but people just don't know that they're happening yet. And I feel like if communication just maybe was a little bit more clear, there would be a little bit less frustration. And so I think one of the best ways is really just to over communicate and really just be that bridge between the president and how he's leading this university, and then how you're leading the students, and really just over communicating and taking the things that people are saying to the president, and then taking what the president's saying back to the students. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Jonathan. And whoever would like to go next can speak up.
I can go next. I think one of the biggest tools that we have is like social media, using, we already have like a Vanguard SGA social media account. And I think being more proactive about that, and actually like, maybe even forming a committee within the House of Representatives to be a part of that communication process, and directly, building a good relationship with the university's president. So it all starts there with the relationships you build, especially with the president of the university. You want your relationship to be very strong there, so that you're able to convey the right messages out to the student body through whatever tools you're able to have, like I said, social media, or even hold town hall meetings to convey those messages that pertain to certain subjects for students. So.
Thank you.
So I would say that as SGA president, I will be creating opportunities where the student body knows who SGA is. They are exposed and they know the names and faces of those that are going to be representing them. That way they have constant communication and knowledge of who the faces are that are going to be fighting for them each and every day. Letting them see just the opportunities that you can have as an individual through working with the president and different staff members, being able to show them the resources that you are given as SGA president right away, and then showing them possible ideas that the president might be able to then help work with them. So just really allowing for there to be communication between the student body and the SGA.
Thank you for all those answers. I'm going to ask one more question for our presidential candidates. What is a need within the student body that you have seen, and how would you advocate for that? You can take a few minutes to think, and then, or Jonathan, would you like to go?
Sure. I mean, I don't mind. I mean, I've mentioned a couple of them already. I would love to just make communication better between financial aid and students. And then also, I would also like to make communication within Res Life to students. For students that live on campus, I feel like sometimes things get lost or things don't they kind of get misconstrued. I mean, I'm noticing a theme here. Just a lot of communication would be really good and healthy for this campus, and would actually save a lot of people so much stress. I think lastly, just one thing that I personally would love to do, maybe make the text that campus safety sends through the Titan app just a little bit more concise, so I'm not getting 4 text messages 3 times a day, and put the really important things at the top of the priority list, so that the campus is really aware of the things that are super important, and that they can know what is going on.
Thank you. And Sydney, I don't know if you had your mic off, but whoever would like to go next can speak up as well.
So for the past 2 years, just being a student at Vanguard, I've been through so many conversations with people saying they're like, oh, I wish this could change, or they have complaints about things, and just not even knowing that our voices really do matter, that when we do have an opinion, we have the capability to actually go and tell our representatives, and they will then start working with SGA in order to support us. So just really vocalizing to the student body that if you see something that you want to make a change on campus, you have the capability to have that power and change the campus for good. And just really being open to them, knowing that even if you think it's something that is so small that it might be another water bottle station fill up just right over there, because sometimes it gets a little bit too hectic over in one section of the school, that every idea is a good idea, and that we want to hear them and be able to advocate for you and make the changes that you want on campus.
Thank you. And lastly, Matt.
Yeah, so there are a couple things that I feel like what we could be a part of change on Vanguard's campus. And I think one of those to start off with is the food planning and the meal plans and stuff. And I think it would be really cool if we address that issue of keeping track with how much flex you have and how many meal plans you have. And I thought it would be so cool to build an app. Listen, we can build an app and it'll tell you everything that you need to know. You put your class schedule on there. It probably won't happen in a year, but we are more than happy to, kickstart that off. So that's kind of more tangible things for students. And then I feel like two other things have the umbrella of just representation and being brought to the table. I feel like there are a lot of majors that feel discluded in the conversation, in SGA. So, bringing the voice of comm majors and business majors and different people like that onto SGA would be amazing to have. And also, diversity and inclusion has been a big hot topic around campus recently. And I think some of those issues need to be talked about and actually brought up, and working together hand in hand with departments like ISP and giving students those resources and a safe place for them to talk about those things about.
Thank you. I'm now going to invite the executive vice presidential candidates to turn their cameras off. Presidential candidates, feel free to turn yours off, and I will have a few questions for the vice president. Hello. Okay. As that, it's just popcorn, so feel free to speak up whenever, and if there's a little lull, I'll just maybe call on someone. But your questions are, in this position, you work directly with the House of Representatives. How do you plan to empower them personally in their role?
As Vice President and working with the House of Representatives, I plan to empower the House of Representatives by meeting them as usual weekly and going over their ideas, allowing them to speak on how they're going to be helping their department. And I think a really awesome thing about SGA is that it's all split up and to the residents or commuter, there's transfer and all those other categories. So I think it's really awesome that I can connect with them and talk to each of them. And especially with the transfer House of Representative, I feel like I have a lot of ideas, and I also have many other ideas for each of those who are stuck and they kind of just don't know how to help their specific constituents. I feel like I can lead them in ideas of how to improve where their constituents might be lacking a need, or trying to join them in their forums that they'll be hosting and seeing the interaction with their constituents, and also being there to hear them out and then brainstorm with my representatives.
Thank you. And Phoenix?
Thank you. I think that just with the House of Representatives, there's a reason why they've been chosen to be House of Representatives. So by just treating them as if not even as if, but they know their departments, their positions. So even though that us as VPs are leading them, in a way they're also leading us and telling us what they need and what help they need. Of course, we'll be there to support. We'll go to their forums. But what more can we do that we haven't done in the past? I like how it's already been a transition with House of Representatives with a little House of Representative of the month or the week, and just show a little appreciation towards all their hard work. And just that's even a progress as it is. So I just think by just continuing to move on with it and just focusing on the small things makes it work. So just allowing them to do their part. Of course, we're leading, but even like what Jonathan said in his speech, leading is also serving. So whatever we can do in our ability to help them out. So I think we're definitely in a right position, but we can always move forward.
Thank you. And lastly, Lauren?
Yes, so I would love to take my experience with working with freshmen in their first year here and taking the perspective of just being a sounding board and meeting with the representatives one-on-one and giving them an opportunity just to bounce ideas off me and just be able to support them in what they're thinking and what they're sure that they feel supported, and that I'm able to help them grow and continue to grow as a leader so that they have those skills to go out and continue to represent each individual student in their specific areas. So I would love to just take the personal approach and make sure that I'm helping them grow and develop, and then also being there to help them make goals or continue to grow ideas so that they are able to step up and continue to grow as a leader themselves and help us out as students here at Vanguard.
Thank you. And that concludes actually, I think we have one more question. We do. Okay, this one's our fun question. And I do like the idea, if you guys would like to raise your hands, that decreases a bit of confusion. Thank you for doing that. So your last question. What has been your favorite memory during your time here at Vanguard? Got to think about those ones. There's too many. Phoenix?
I would say my favorite memory was being an RA for fifth floor of Huntington Hall last year. It was probably one of the most unique experiences I've ever had in my life. Where the first week, I only knew probably about 5 or 7 of them, but after the end of the fall semester, all 25, 30 of us hung out as a group. And at lunch, it was just in the old CAF, there was this small round table, and usually it fits about 5 people, but we made like 15 fit in there. And I think it just all goes around with what everyone says at Vanguard. It's the number one word, it's community. There's a reason why everyone says community, and the reason why they stay here is community. And a lot of people don't truly act on it. And so just with my floor, of course I've helped and I've led the floor, but they also led me, and get to see their experiences and their stories, and I get to share my stories and experiences. And so it was a whole fun experience at times. And yeah, I would say that was my favorite memory.
Thank you. Millie?
I think one of my favorite memories here at Vanguard has been during one of the shines, how it used to be. Oh, I miss those days. Hopefully fall semester, we have hope. Yeah, it was just a really great shine service. Just the presence of God was definitely there, and it was just like in fellowship with all of my friends and other peers. And I think that night really just like set the tone and the like just all of like the momentum of that year for like and like the next 4 years of Vanguard for me. And it really just I just felt so like called and just it was just like a really good memory because I just feel like this is my home and I want to like give everything I have to it.
Thank you. Yes, those shines will be missed and hopefully they do come back soon. Lauren?
Yes, I kind of have a two-parter. So the first part kind of goes on what Phoenix was saying with just community in the cafeteria and just meeting new people and being like, hey, can I sit here with you? I loved doing that and just hearing people's stories and just more about them. And I feel like that is just like encompasses what Vanguard is. And I really hope that we can get back to that point one day fully. But that's my first part. My second part, I love the Campus Cup events, specifically the dodgeball was like eye-opening, just the energy that everyone brought and the camaraderie of each team. And I'm an athlete, so I love competition. So just having that vibe was just so cool. And I love that we are able to put aside all the stress of school sometimes and just be able to come together and have fun and smile and just be goofy and enjoy school and just make sure that we are building those relationships. So
Thank you. Okay, I'm now going to invite all candidates to turn their cameras on. And just for time, not everyone will get to answer each question. So I'll have a few of you answer, and then we'll move on to the next question. But these are the questions that the student body has asked over our Instagram DMs. And so this is kind of them having a little chance of trying to hear more from you personally than just these other set questions. So as always, or not as always, but I guess we're now going to implement raising your hand. It just decreases the amount of confusion a bit, and then I will call on you. So without further ado, our first question, if we are still remote learning next fall semester of 2021, how will you advocate for your fellow students and their experience at Vanguard? In terms of remote learning, sorry. Matt?
I think that we can continue to implement the remote representatives, keeping that as a job that'll be open to remote students who choose to do school from, a remote status. And I think really focusing on the community aspect of their roles as representatives representing the remote students, because it can get lonely I'm a remote student right now. And I know it's really, really hard to stay connected with Vanguard and like making sure that I'm still in contact with all my friends. So really pushing that out for students would be something that I think is key.
Thank you. Jonathan?
I mean, Matt kind of said it earlier, but I think social media is huge. I think it's something that's super easy and simple and something that you're a lot more likely to respond to rather than like an email, especially after, emailing all of your professors all day. Answering like a quick questionnaire or answering like a DM, or even like doing polls on there to see how people are feeling, see the things that they want to do, is a really quick way. I also love like the idea of like getting in touch personally with students that are remote, checking in on seeing how they're doing, making sure, they have everything that they need. And if there's any way we can make it easier for them or better for them, that way they have a better experience and they can express that to us.
Thank you. Sydney, and then we'll move on to the next question.
So when it comes to going as another semester being remote, I think the number one thing would honestly just be having that communication and contact with our remote students. Some students are out of state, so there are time differences. And for some classes, that can really be a strain, having to then wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning for your class And so really just being able to have that connection to where they can let their professors know a little bit more about themselves and what they might need in their education to make it a little bit more flexible for them. Because sometimes life happens, especially as we've learned that we have to be able to adapt at moment's notice. So being able just to have more of like that quick conversation with your professor to where they can get the chance to kind of know you a little bit more and just kind of hear your story and what you might need in them as you navigate through another semester of being online.
Thank you. Our next question is, what made you initially want to run for SGA president or the executive vice president role? Lauren?
Yeah, I can go. So me and Sydney kind of have a similar experience, so I can kind of speak for both of us. But we initially, so we're in OSC, so we've heard about SGA, we've heard about everything they do, and we love what they do and their representation of the students. And we just kept hearing about it. Oh, you should run. But we really were like, we don't really know what that means. And then we just felt that God put it on our hearts to step up and at least try and put ourselves out there so that people knew that we do care, we want to have a say for you guys, and that we want to represent you and do everything we can for you. So I think it was really just God opened this opportunity for us, and we want to just give everything we can to it and just make sure that everyone knows that we're here for them, and we just want to continue to make Vanguard a better place for everyone.
Thank you. Jonathan, did you want to say something? Jonathan and then Millie.
I'm so sorry, Millie. So honestly, I mean, I mentioned it a little bit, but like I love serving. And so even stepping into the role of RA last year and this year, I've really enjoyed student leadership, but I've also enjoyed like the serving people aspect. And I was like, do I want to do something my senior year, or do I just like not want to do anything? And I was like, you know what, I'm going to talk to Joe. Shout out to Joe Contreras, current president. I was like, I'm going to talk to Joe about like SGA and like see if that's something like I would want to do. And so like I knew a little bit about it, but I was like, you know what, like, is this really something? And I talked to Joe for like 30 minutes and he like sold me. I was like, this is like an incredible opportunity to really just serve people, really help people, and really just leave a legacy at Vanguard. And do something that can benefit the students here currently and benefit the students in the future. And that's really what got me is the fact that I could leave a change and I could grow so much in leadership, but also sacrifice so much and serve the students so much.
Thank you. And Millie?
What sparked me to apply with Jonathan was kind of just my experience with SGA my freshman year. It honestly just planted a seed in my heart, and it just like never stopped growing. And being an RA now is just another style of leadership, and I got to really connect with my girls on a deeper level. But my plan was always to go back into the SGA and use those skills that I learned and with having the opportunity to be an RA and getting to know people's stories, getting to know what their needs are in res life, whether it's even academically, spiritually, socially, whatever that may be, and like really take it to administration, talk to Tim Young, talk to President Beals, and make that change for them. And that's just something that I really am passionate about doing, and I'm just so happy that I get to do this run in this election with Jonathan. And yeah, that's what sparked.
Thank you. Okay, last question. If elected, how will you ensure that every voice, no matter what demographic, constituency, how will you ensure that their voice at Vanguard feels heard and understood? Phoenix?
I feel that we've all talked about social media, but you can always put a poll on social media. Not everyone's gonna vote. More than likely, let's be honest, Vanguard has about 100 Instagram accounts, and there's just so many to count. So what's what's a creative way for students to interact and for us to even acknowledge their stories? Like with what Matt was saying earlier, that there's a lot of people that we don't know, or that a lot of people don't know, who has amazing stories and skills and abilities, opinions and ideas, and just no one has spoke to them. No one has tried. They could be commuters. They could just be in their dorms. So it's more of up to us of how can we creatively find those students, and even the students as a whole. There's so many ways now, since everything now is in the internet. It'll just be easy to just find a creative way for all the students to hear their voices. And with what Matt and I were saying is even just having one-on-ones with some students and making like a video and showing their stories, just so that we can support them and show that their voice is actually heard. Because with our slogan, building our story together, we're not just saying that for a slogan. It's we really do mean that. And with what Matt was telling me weeks ago, is really motivating to hear and inspiring. So that's what I believe.
Thank you. Anyone else? Millie? And then Jonathan.
I'm so sorry. One way to make our students feel heard is really having those one-on-one conversations with them. And whether it's as small as making a follow-up and allowing them to know that we're still thinking about them, but also brainstorming and coming back into our office and making a game plan to target what they had came to us with. And whether it's something small or big, if it's a small thing and we can make that change and we have plans to do that, having that action really shows them that, wow, like I said something to them and they went out and they did it. So just by showing them that we are really listening and really taking what they're saying and working with that is a way that I would like to feel heard. And also I love the fact that Phoenix and Matt are saying, like, sharing their stories, because that is definitely something people would like to share, and like that's another way of feeling heard.
Yeah, that was actually really close to what I was going to say. I feel like one-on-one conversations, like I've been an RA for 2 years, and that's my favorite part of the job, is sitting down, listening to people, hearing where they're from, and just listening to them. It's really, I mean, there's so many interesting people out there. And like, once you like take your eyes off yourself, you're like, wow, like there's some incredible people out there and they have like crazy stories. And so I feel like really getting into like the nitty gritty and like talking with people, sitting down, getting coffee, getting lunch. I feel like I would really want to push for everyone in SGA, the representatives, the people on the executive board, everyone to really sit down with at least one person once a week and like have a one-on-one and hear their thoughts, hear their ideas. And for commuters, for people who might be doing remote learning, like even having like opportunities to have like Zoom calls or things like that, have opportunities where people, even though they're away, they can still actually voice their opinion. They can actually still feel heard and seen. And I feel like that would benefit a lot of people, and they would feel a lot more connected, especially if they got to talk to someone that actually cares and will actually take what they're saying and make it happen.
Thank you. Matt?
Yeah, I want to address, like talking about like how do we keep students, connected with us. And I just want to say, like, being with the title of like SGA president or executive vice president, there's nothing that makes us better than any other student that attends Vanguard. And I think if we have that, mindset of just being humble and approaching students, being SGA president or vice president is not like the title that puts you at the top of the food chain, but it's the platform that you get to not be the weird kid and go up to somebody and be like, so what are your issues on campus? It gives you the opportunity to connect with students and to be able to relate with students. And I think that, talking to Phoenix with our previous conversations of just building our story together for students to feel comfortable in telling their stories, because there are 7 billion people on this planet and I'm not going to be able to like get to know each and every single one of them, which is really, really a downer, but I wish I could. And so you think of that as like Vanguard's campus community, and you want to be able to get to know as many students as you can and hear their stories, because they really do matter. And not only do we hear their stories, but we have to celebrate them as well and figure out ways to, like, campaign their stories, of them telling their stories, and just being able to celebrate them as a whole. So
Thank you. Sydney?
So as a university and as being a part of SGA, we will have the capability to have our doors open to the student body all day, and just letting the students know that we are here for them, and being intentional with the time, that if we set aside our office hours, we want them to come. We need to make sure that we are inviting them in to spend time with us and talk to us and let them show us who they are, and just really showing them that it's not just, oh, so-and-so, and checking off their student ID number and being like, yes, we got one more in. Really showing them that we actually want to hear their story, and that it's not going to be afterwards we walked by and we forgot who they were. Then just going back and remembering their story, and then talking to them, following up, and just seeing how their story is still transforming, how God is using them, not only just at Vanguard, but in this world. So really just taking the opportunity to be intentional with the time that we are spending with the students.
Thank you, Sydney. I think that was everyone, and I really appreciate all of your guys' answers. I'm super proud of all of you and excited for what the student body has to say. If you guys all want to turn your cameras off, we will get towards, I'm just gonna make a few announcements for what the future of this voting process is going to look like for all of you students streaming live right now. I do want to say thank you again, and if you want to give a few clap emojis in the group chat to let all of our candidates know that they're loved and they're so supported by all of you, that would be wonderful. And we really appreciate you joining us live, especially so late at night, or not so late for college students, I should say. So a few reminders for those of you that are voting. Voting opens in 3 minutes at 10 p.m. And the link, well, first it closes, it opens tonight at 10 p.m. and it closes next week, February 24th at 5 p.m. So make sure you tell all of your friends, post it on social media to continue to vote. Everyone gets to vote at least once. The voting URL is tallyspace.com/vote/SGA, and you can find all of the information on our Instagram at Vanguard SGA, and it is also in the link on the YouTube as well. When you vote, you will be entered into a raffle to win lots of fun goodies, so that's even more motivation to vote and tell all of your friends to vote as well. It is going to be a really great gift. I'm super excited for it. Also, those who can vote. If you are a current freshman, a current sophomore, a current junior, or a current first semester senior. So if you're a senior in credits and you are planning to graduate next fall in December, you are allowed to vote. But if you are a senior in credits and graduating in May, you are not allowed to. If you do have trouble voting, like if TallySpace, the polls say we can't find you or whatever, please just email me at, I forgot my email, sgaexecvp@vanguard.edu, or DM us on Instagram, and we will get that figured out straight away for you and get you rolling to voting for your favorite candidate. So please just keep in communication with us. Even though technology is our day-to-day lives, we are still getting the hang of it. So, but just let us know and we will make sure you get that vote. Also, please make sure to follow at Vanguard SGA on Instagram for all of our poll updates to see who is winning and all of that great stuff and other important information. And I want to give a huge big thank you to Vanguard's marketing team for allowing us to use their YouTube channel, WatchVU. As always, another big round of applause for all of these candidates. They did such an amazing job, and I'm so proud of them. And you should all be too. I'm so excited, and voting opens in about 30 seconds, I believe. So congratulations, and as President Joe would say, may the odds be ever in your favor. The polls are open. Everyone go vote, and thank you for watching on YouTube. Have a great night, everyone.